In a stunning revelation, humanity's existence rocked the galactic community to its core. The Vulcan ambassador Ymir grimly addressed an emergency summit of alien races, announcing that faint radio signals had been detected emanating from Sector X-29's infamous Death World, a planet long considered utterly uninhabitable. This hellish world had been a cautionary tale for eons, its lethal combination of extreme temperatures, toxic atmosphere, and violent weather patterns, making it a place no species dared venture. Yet the implications of life not only surviving but thriving in such conditions sent a collective shudder through the assembly. As if on cue, the human exploration vessel Intrepid emerged from hyperspace near the Alien Council's space station. Captain George Allen, a seasoned explorer renowned for his fearlessness, hailed the station and requested permission to dock. The aliens, still reeling from their discovery, hesitantly granted access. Allen strode into the council chamber, flanked by his diverse human crew, met with a mix of awe and apprehension from the gathered alien representatives. Introducing himself and his mission to establish peaceful first contact on behalf of Earth and humanity, Allen was met with disbelief from Ymir, who informed him that Earth was known to be a desolate death world incapable of supporting complex life. Unfazed, Allen presented detailed scans and biological readings, confirming that Earth teemed with life and was in fact humanity's ancestral homeworld. This revelation sent shockwaves through the council as they grappled with the fact that humans had not merely survived but flourished on a planet that would instantly kill most known species. Some expressed admiration for humanity's tenacity, while others whispered that such beings posed a grave threat to the established order. Sensing the growing unease, Allen proposed a cultural exchange to foster understanding and cooperation between humans and the galactic community. As the Intrepid departed, leaving a stunned council in its wake, Ymir couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding, knowing that the discovery of humanity would have far-reaching consequences and irrevocably alter the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Earth, once a mere curiosity, now loomed large in the minds of all, a mystery wrapped in an enigma, and perhaps the key to the future of all sentient life. As the Intrepid glided through the inky void of space, Captain Allen couldn't shake the weight of the momentous events that had transpired on the Alien Council's station. The revelation of humanity's existence had sent shockwaves through the galactic community, and he knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and uncertainties. The doors to the ship's xenobiology lab hissed open, and Dr. Sarah Thompson greeted Allen with a look of terrifying excitement. "Captain, you won't believe what I've found," she exclaimed, gesturing to the array of holograms and data readouts that filled the room. "The biological data we received from the Alien Council, it's unlike anything I've ever seen." Allen leaned in, his brow furrowed as he studied the complex diagrams and charts. "What do you mean, Doctor?" "Well, for starters, most of these species have evolved in incredibly stable environments. Their physiologies are adapted to a very narrow range of conditions." Thompson pointed to a series of graphs that compared various alien species to humans. "But humans? We're in a league of our own. Our ability to survive and thrive in extreme conditions is unparalleled." Allen nodded, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "We've always been a resilient bunch, haven't we?" "Resilient is an understatement," Thompson replied, her eyes sparkling with the thrill of discovery. "The fact that we've not only survived but flourished on a planet that would kill most of these species in minutes, it's astounding." As the Intrepid continued its journey back to Earth, a delegation of alien scientists and diplomats prepared to embark on a historic voyage of their own. Among them was Zyrax, a Nausicaan anthropologist renowned for his studies of civilizations across the galaxy. Zyrax couldn't help but feel a mixture of anticipation and trepidation as he boarded the transport vessel. The prospect of encountering humanity firsthand was both exhilarating and daunting. He had spent his entire career studying the ways in which sentient species adapted to their environments, but never had he encountered a race quite like humans. As the alien delegation entered Earth's atmosphere, they were immediately struck by the planet's hostile beauty. The searing heat of the deserts, the bone-chilling cold of the polar regions, and the noxious fumes of the volcanoes were all conditions that would quickly claim the lives of most alien species. Yet, as they descended upon the planet's surface, they witnessed something extraordinary. Humans, in their myriad forms and cultures, were not merely surviving in these extreme environments. They were thriving. Xyrax and his team visited settlements in the harshest corners of the globe, from the scorching Sahara to the frozen wastelands of Antarctica. They marveled at the ingenuity of human technology, from the climate-controlled habitats that allowed them to live comfortably in the desert to the insulated suits that protected them from the biting cold. But it was more than just their technological prowess that impressed the alien anthropologist. As he immersed himself in human culture, Xyrax began to understand that humanity's true strength lay in their unparalleled ability to adapt and overcome. He watched as humans from vastly different backgrounds and cultures came together, sharing knowledge and resources to tackle the challenges of their environment. He listened to their stories of hardship and triumph, of communities banding together in the face of adversity. And yet, even as Xyrax found himself growing more and more fascinated by humanity, he couldn't shake the growing sense of unease that had begun to take root in the back of his mind. For not all members of the alien delegation shared his admiration for this remarkable species. Some, like the militant Orcs of the Xanthian Empire, saw in humanity's adaptability and resilience a potential threat to the fragile balance of power that had long governed the galaxy. As Corax's whispers of fear and mistrust began to spread among the delegation, Xyrax knew that he would face an uphill battle in convincing the galactic community to embrace humanity as equals. But as he watched a group of human children playing in the shadow of a towering volcano, their laughter echoing across the barren landscape, Xyrax knew that he would do whatever it took to ensure that humanity's light was not extinguished before it had a chance to truly shine. The alien delegation's return to the Galactic Council sent shockwaves through interstellar society. Xyrax watched with growing unease as Corax, the Xanthian general, took center stage in the Grand Assembly Hall. "Esteemed colleagues," Corax's voice boomed, his eyes glinting with barely concealed malice. "I come before you with grave news. The humans are not merely survivors of a harsh world, they are conquerors, bred for domination." Murmurs rippled through the gathered representatives as Corax presented holographic images of Earth's most extreme environments. "Behold the crucible that forged this species, a world that would kill any of us in minutes, yet they call it home." On Earth, Senator Victor Blackwood stood before a roaring crowd, his charisma palpable even through the grainy video feed Xyrax watched. "My fellow humans," Blackwood declared, "we are not accidents of evolution, but the products of ancient design." The anthropologist's heart sank as he saw the fervor in the human audience's eyes. Blackwood's words struck a chord, feeding into a dangerous narrative of superiority. "Our ancestors engineered this world," Blackwood continued, gesturing dramatically. "They created the ultimate test, forging us into the pinnacle of galactic life." Across Earth, Blackwood's message spread like wildfire. Media outlets amplified his claims, with pundits like Alex Jones adding fuel to the growing flames of human exceptionalism. "Wake up, people," Jones shouted on his popular broadcast. "The aliens are shaking in their boots because they know we're the top dogs now." Meanwhile, the galaxy's thrill-seekers flocked to Earth in droves. Xyrax watched in horror as footage emerged of ill-prepared aliens succumbing to Earth's harsh conditions. "Another tragedy on the Death World," a news anchor reported solemnly. 3 Arcturian tourists perished in an ill-fated expedition to Earth's Death Valley. In the council chambers, Corax seized upon these incidents. "See how casually they expose others to their world's dangers? This is the true face of humanity, callous, reckless, and utterly without regard for other species." Xyrax felt the tide of opinion turning against humanity. He hurried to his communication terminal, fingers flying as he composed an urgent message to Captain Allen. "Captain, the situation is deteriorating rapidly," he wrote. "Corax is pushing for military action against Earth. We need to find a way to bridge this divide before it's too late." As Xyrax hit send, he couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. The galaxy teetered on the brink of conflict, with Earth at its center. The anthropologist could only hope that cooler heads would prevail before the flames of mistrust and fear consumed them all. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as Corax addressed the assembled representatives. His imposing figure cast a shadow across the holographic display of Earth's most treacherous terrains. "These humans," he growled, gesturing to the swirling images of volcanic eruptions and raging storms, "are not mere survivors. They are conquerors, forged in the fires of a world that would annihilate lesser beings." Murmurs of unease rippled through the audience. Xyrax watched from his seat, his heart heavy with the weight of impending conflict. On Earth, Senator Victor Blackwood's voice thundered across a packed stadium. "Our ancestors crafted this world as the ultimate crucible." The crowd roared its approval, their faces alight with fervor. Across the planet, Blackwood's message spread like wildfire. News outlets amplified his claims, stoking the flames of human exceptionalism. "The aliens are quaking in their boots," Alex Jones bellowed on his broadcast. "They know we're the top of the food chain now." As Blackwood's rhetoric gained traction, a disturbing trend emerged. Xyrax received reports of vandalized alien cultural centers, their walls defaced with crude slogans of human supremacy. In major cities, separatist rallies clogged the streets, participants openly taunting off-worlders. Captain George Allen paced the deck of the Intrepid, his face grim as he reviewed the latest intelligence reports. "We need to nip this in the bud," he muttered to his XO. "Set a course for the council station. We're going to have a chat with Ambassador Xyrax." Hours later, Allen found himself face-to-face with the Nausicaaansian anthropologist in a secluded meeting room. "We have evidence that thoroughly debunks Blackwood's terraforming theories," Allen explained, sliding a data chip across the table. "With your help, we can dismantle his political power base." Xyrax's expression clouded. "Captain, I sympathize with your position, but sharing such sensitive information could provoke severe reprisals from Corax and his ilk." Before Allen could respond, an urgent transmission cut through the tension. "Emergency situation on Earth. Alien tour group trapped by volcanic eruption." The feed flickered to life, revealing a hellish landscape of ash and fire. A group of alien tourists huddled on a narrow ledge, their environmental suits already showing signs of critical failure. "Those idiots," Allen growled. "They ignored every safety protocol we put in place." Xyrax leaned forward, his eyes wide. "Can your people reach them?" Allen's expression resolute in persistence. "We're going to try." The rescue operation unfolded in real time on screens across the galaxy. Human teams in advanced heat-resistant gear battled through rivers of lava and clouds of toxic gas. Alien viewers watched in stunned silence as the rescuers pushed themselves to the very limits of endurance. Gunnery Sergeant Marcus Trenton led the charge, his massive frame dwarfing the alien tourists as he herded them towards an awaiting transport. Suddenly, the ground beneath them heaved. A geyser of molten rock erupted, heading straight for a terrified alien female frozen in panic. Without hesitation, Trenton threw himself between her and the deadly debris. His scream of agony cut through the comms as the lava seared through his protective gear. In the council chamber, even Corax fell silent, his eyes fixed on the scene unfolding before him. The rescue ship limped back to base, its hull scarred by the ordeal. As medical teams rushed to treat the survivors, Captain Allen received a somber update. Gunnery Sergeant Trenton had succumbed to his injuries. Allen's fist clenched at his sides. "This madness has to stop," he said, his voice low and intense. "Xyrax, we need that information. No more half measures." The Nausicaaansian nodded slowly. "You're right, Captain. I'll make the arrangements with our embedded team." As they set their plan in motion, neither Allen nor Xyrax were aware of the storm gathering on the horizon. In a hidden Xanthian military base, Corax pored over tactical displays, finalizing plans for an assault on Earth that would change the face of the galaxy forever. As Corax's plans for military action against Earth took shape in the shadows, a different kind of revolution was brewing on the planet's surface. In a nondescript research facility nestled in the heart of the Rocky Mountains, a team of embedded Nausicaaansian bioanthropologists huddled around a holographic display, their eyes wide with excitement. "We've done it," Dr. Zilia whispered, her voice trembling with the weight of their discovery. "The evidence is irrefutable." The display flickered, revealing a complex web of geological and atmospheric data spanning billions of years. Layer upon layer of Earth's history unfolded before them, each stratum telling a story of natural processes that had shaped the planet's harsh environments. No terraforming, Dr. Krell confirmed, his tentacles twitching with nervous energy. Just the inexorable march of time and the chaotic beauty of planetary evolution. Across the galaxy, aboard the Intrepid, Captain Allen's comm unit chirped urgently. As he absorbed the transmitted data, a mixture of relief and willpower washed over his features. XO, set course for Earth immediately. We need to get this information into the right hands. Within hours, trusted human media outlets began broadcasting the revelations. Respected scientists and government officials, sympathetic to improving human-alien relations, took to the airwaves, presenting the evidence with calm rationality. Senator Blackwood's office became a hive of panicked activity as his staff scrambled to contain the fallout. But it was too late. The foundations of his political empire were crumbling. In New York's Central Park, a hastily organized symposium drew thousands. Dr. Eliza Chen, a renowned astrophysicist, addressed the crowd. Today, we embrace a profound truth about our world and our place in the cosmos. We are not the product of some grand design, but the resilient children of a challenging Mother Earth. And in this knowledge, we find our strength and our humility. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing across the park. Alien visitors mingled freely with humans, a palpable sense of relief and camaraderie in the air. But far from Earth, in the sterile confines of a Xanthian military base, General Corax seethed with almost unchecked rage. The holographic displays before him flickered with battle plans and weapon schematics. Blackwood's failure changes nothing, he growled to his assembled officers. The humans remain a threat. We will strike while they're distracted by this revelation. Unknown to Corax, Admiral Tisari of the Centaurian fleet observed the proceedings from the shadows, her expression grim. As the meeting adjourned, she slipped away, making her way to a secure communications array. Captain Allen, she whispered into the encrypted channel, you must listen carefully. Earth is in grave danger. As Tisari detailed Corax's plans for a devastating first strike, Allen's face hardened. He turned to his crew, his voice steady despite the weight of the information. Red alert. All hands to battle stations. We're going to need every ally we can muster. In the depths of Xanthian space, a young dissident named Vex huddled over a contraband communications device. His message to Ambassador Zyrax was brief, but loaded with potential. We stand with Earth. Tell us how we can help. As Zyrax received the message, a flicker of hope ignited in his chest. The pieces were in motion, the stakes higher than ever. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Captain Allen's fingers flew across the Intrepid's command console, his eyes darting between multiple screens as he coordinated the desperate defense of Earth. Admiral Tisari's holographic form flickered beside him, her tentacles writhing with nervous energy. The Nausicansian resistance has come through, Allen said, his voice tight. We have the blueprints for Corax's warships. Tisari's compound eyes widened. Excellent. But how do we exploit this information in time? Allen allowed himself a grim smile. I've got a man on the inside. Michael Trenton, brother of the late Sergeant Marcus Trenton. He's already en route to the Xanthian dry dock. Across the vast emptiness of space, Michael Trenton's heart raced as he maneuvered his stealth shuttle towards the looming Xanthian facility. The stolen blueprints flickered on his heads-up display, guiding him to a maintenance airlock. I'm in, Michael whispered into his comm, beginning Phase 1 of Operation Trojan Horse. With practiced efficiency, Michael made his way through the cavernous dry dock. He moved from ship to ship, his specialized tools interfacing with each vessel's antimatter containment systems. A few taps of his hacking device, and the damage was done, invisible to Corax's crews, but deadly once activated. Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Thompson hunched over banks of computers in a fortified bunker. Data streamed across her screens, a treasure trove of intel on Xanthian military capabilities. Captain Allen, she called over the secure channel, I'm transmitting optimal firing solutions for our ground-based defenses. If we position our batteries just right, we might have a chance. Allen nodded, relaying the information to military commanders across the globe. Within hours, missile silos and railgun emplacements were realigned, their barrels pointed skyward in grim anticipation. The attack, when it came, was swift and merciless. Xanthian warships dropped out of FTL, their weapons already charging. Corax's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Behold the price of human arrogance!" Waves of missiles and relativistic kill vehicles streaked towards Earth. But as they neared their targets, something extraordinary happened. Projectiles began to detonate prematurely, their antimatter warheads destabilizing in brilliant flashes of light. Earth's defenses roared to life, a web of interceptors and energy beams rising to meet the onslaught. The carefully positioned batteries proved devastatingly effective, each shot finding its mark with uncanny precision. Aboard his flagship Dominion, Corax snarled in frustration. "Close the distance," he bellowed. "We'll reduce their cities to ash ourselves." The massive dreadnought plowed through the debris of its own failed assault, plasma cannons glowing with murderous intent. As it entered low orbit, the Dominion unleashed hell upon the Earth below. Entire city blocks vanished in instant conflagrations, the ground itself liquefying under the barrage. But even as death reigned from above, hope flickered to life in the most unexpected of places. Michael Trenton, his mission complete, transmitted one final crucial piece of data. "Captain Allen," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "I'm sending you Dominion's reactor schematics. There's a weak point, but you'll only get one shot." Allen's lips pursed as he studied the information. It was a long shot, but it was all they had left. He opened a channel to Earth's remaining aerospace squadrons. "This is Captain Allen of the Intrepid. I need volunteers for a suicide mission. We're going after Dominion's reactors." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Pilots from every corner of the globe, human and alien alike, pledged themselves to the cause. As they streaked towards the looming dreadnought, Allen felt a swell of pride. The fighters swarmed Dominion, their weapons enhanced by technology provided by the defecting Admiral Tisari. They pounded at the flagship's shields, searching for that one crucial opening. "There!" Allen shouted, highlighting a fluctuation in Dominion's defensive grid. "All units, concentrate fire!" A storm of antimatter warheads penetrated Dominion's hull, detonating deep within its superstructure. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a silent flash that outshone the sun, Corax's mighty flagship was no more. As the light faded and the cosmic dust settled, an eerie quiet fell over the battlefield. The Xanthian fleet, leaderless and in disarray, began to retreat, but the cost of victory was etched in the scarred face of the planet below. Admiral Tisari's voice, heavy with emotion, broke the silence. "This madness must end. Too much blood has been spilled on both sides." Captain Allen nodded, his eyes fixed on the wounded Earth. "Agreed, but the real work is just beginning." Captain Allen stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, his eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth. The planet's surface bore angry red scars where Corax's assault had left its mark. Debris from shattered ships and orbital platforms drifted in lazy orbits, a grim reminder of the battle's cost. "Status report," Allen said, his voice tight with exhaustion. His XO, Commander Reyes, stepped forward. "The blockade is holding, sir. No sign of Xanthian reinforcements. Admiral Tisari's peacekeeping forces have established control over key orbital installations." Allen nodded. "And on the ground?" "It's chaotic, sir," Reyes admitted. "Rescue efforts are underway in the hardest-hit areas, but the scale of destruction is overwhelming. We're getting reports of widespread infrastructure, collapse, power outages, and significant civilian casualties." The bridge fell silent, the weight of those words hanging heavy in the air. Allen's eyebrows furrowed as he fought to maintain his composure. "Captain," the comms officer called out, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Dr. Thompson." Allen straightened. "Put her through." The holographic display shifted, revealing the haggard face of Dr. Sarah Thompson. Her eyes were ringed with dark circles, her hair disheveled. "Captain Allen," she began, her voice trembling, "I've made a discovery. It's bad." As Thompson detailed her findings on the Xanthian bioweapon fragments, Alan felt a chill run down his spine. The implications were staggering. "We need to contain this information," Alan said, his mind racing. "If word gets out, it could spark a genetic arms race," Thompson finished. "I know, but we can't ignore this threat." Alan nodded grimly. "Keep working on it, Doctor. We'll need every advantage we can get." As the transmission ended, Alan turned to his crew. "Set course for the emergency summit. We need to brief Ambassador Zyrax and Admiral Tisari immediately." The Intrepid broke orbit, leaving behind a world forever changed. In the vast emptiness of space, Alan couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely the calm before an even greater storm. Across the galaxy, on a nameless Xanthian world, Vex huddled in a cramped maintenance tunnel. The distant sounds of jackboots and energy weapons echoed through the corridors of the spaceport above. "They're everywhere," his companion, a fellow dissident named Zara, whispered. "The Emperor's forces are rounding up anyone suspected of aiding the humans." Vex's fingers flew across the screen of his contraband communicator, encrypting a message to their off-world allies. "We can't stay here. The resistance needs to go deeper underground." Zara nodded, her eyes wide with fear and purpose. "What about the intel on the Emperor's build-up plans?" "Already transmitted," Vex replied. "Now we just have to hope it makes a difference." In the opulent halls of the Xanthian Imperial Palace, the Emperor paced before a bank of strategic displays. His advisors cowered nearby, their tentacles twitching nervously. "Explain to me," the Emperor hissed, "how our glorious armada was defeated by a primitive species barely out of its cradle?" Before anyone could answer, a junior officer burst into the room. "Your Majesty, we're receiving reports of uprisings on multiple colony worlds." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Show me." The displays flickered, revealing scenes of chaos across the Empire. Xanthian civilians clashed with security forces, their anger fueled by leaked footage of Earth's devastation. "Lies!" the Emperor snarled. "Human propaganda! Crush these insurrections at once!" As the Emperor issued his orders, little did he know that forces beyond his control were already in motion. In a nondescript conference room light years away, Ambassador Zyrax and Admiral Tisari convened an emergency meeting of moderate alien civilizations. "We can no longer stand idly by," Zyrax declared, his voice filled with conviction. "The time has come to recognize humanity's right to exist free from subjugation." A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembled dignitaries. Tisari stepped forward, her tentacles gesturing emphatically. "We propose immediate economic sanctions against the Xanthian Empire," she said. "We must choke off the resources fueling their war machine." As the coalition hammered out the details of their plan, a small team of human operatives put the finishing touches on their own audacious gambit. In a heavily shielded facility deep beneath the ruins of what was once Geneva, Colonel Erica Hansen briefed her hand-picked squad. "This is it, people," she said, gesturing to a holographic representation of an ornate alien structure. "Our intel suggests the Emperor will be here in exactly 72 hours. We have one shot at this, so let's make it count." The team nodded, their faces a mix of drive and trepidation. As they began to don their advanced holographic disguises, Hansen couldn't help but wonder if this desperate ploy would be enough to stave off another devastating war. Little did anyone know the true test of humanity's determination and the destiny of the universe was about to unfold in ways no one could have predicted. The Emperor's private shuttle glided towards the coordinates of the clandestine meeting. His advisors had cautioned against this rendezvous, but the promise of contact with a supreme precursor race was too tantalizing to ignore. As the shuttle docked with the nondescript station, the Emperor's guard formed a protective phalanx around him. They moved through sterile corridors until they reached a vast, dimly lit chamber. A figure materialized before them, its form shimmering with an otherworldly glow. The holographic emissary stood tall, its features an impossible blend of alien physiologies. "Greetings, Emperor of the Xanthians," the being intoned, its voice resonating with ancient authority. "We have observed your conflict with the humans. It displeases us." The Emperor's eyes widened, his posture instinctively becoming more subservient. Great one. We seek only to— Silence, the emissary commanded. Your aggression threatens the delicate balance we have cultivated for eons. You will cease your attacks on Earth immediately. The Emperor's mind raced. The being before him seemed irrefutable proof of a higher power in the cosmos. He thought of the fleets poised to strike Earth, of the bioweapons awaiting deployment. With great reluctance, he bowed his head. It shall be done, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. As the Emperor transmitted orders to stand down, Vex and Zara huddled in the bowels of the station, their hearts pounding. The human operatives who had orchestrated this deception ushered them towards a waiting stealth ship. You can't go back now, Colonel Hansen said, her voice firm but not unkind. Earth will grant you asylum, but we'll need your help. Vex nodded grimly. The bioweapons program. We'll tell you everything we know. On Earth, in a subterranean lab complex, Dr. Thompson pored over the data stolen from Xanthian research facilities. Her team worked feverishly, parsing through alien genetic codes. There, she murmured, highlighting a section of the display. A vulnerability in their genomic structure. If we can exploit this— In another wing of the facility, volunteers lined up for experimental treatments. Some bore the scars of Corax's attack. Others were driven by a burning desire for vengeance. They understood the risks, but their drive was unshakable. Ambassador Zyrax watched the footage of human extremists with growing alarm. The attacks on alien refugees were becoming more frequent, more violent. He composed an urgent message to Captain Allen, warning of the growing unrest. Deep beneath the lunar surface, a team of scientists gathered around a holographic projection. The image showed a cascade of genetic alterations, spreading across a model of Xanthian populations. It's done, the lead researcher announced, her voice a mix of awe and trepidation. We can trigger a species-wide extinction event. The room fell silent, the weight of this power settling heavily on all present. Humanity now held the key to unilateral victory, and possibly its own damnation. The lunar facility's stark white corridors echoed with the sound of rapid footsteps. Dr. Thompson burst into the observation room, her eyes wide with a mix of triumph and terror. We've done it, she gasped, sliding a data pad across the table to the assembled group of Earth's top military and scientific minds. The Omega strain is complete. A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. General Hawthorne, his face etched with deep lines of fatigue, leaned forward to study the data. So this is it, he murmured. The power to end the Xanthian threat once and for all. Ambassador Zyrax, present via holographic projection, shifted uncomfortably. His multifaceted eyes reflected a deep sadness. At what cost, General? The extinction of an entire species? The room erupted into heated debate. Voices raised, fists pounded on tables, and accusations flew. Dr. Thompson stood silently, her creation weighing heavily on her conscience. Captain Allen, observing from a corner, raised his voice above the din. Enough! We need to think this through carefully. The consequences of using this weapon would be unimaginable. As the arguments raged on, a priority alert flashed across the main screen. The color drained from Allen's face as he read the incoming transmission. We've been compromised, he announced grimly. News of the Omega strain has leaked. The galactic community is in an uproar. The room fell silent once more, the gravity of the situation settling over them like a suffocating blanket. Ambassador Zyrax's hologram flickered, his expression grave. I fear this will only serve to escalate tensions, he said. Emperor Thraxus will use this as justification for his most extreme measures. As if on cue, another alert blared. A massive Xanthian fleet had been detected on the edge of the Sol system. At its heart loomed a behemoth that dwarfed even the largest dreadnoughts. The Xenos Maximus, Allen breathed, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. They're coming to finish what they started. Alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Thompson clutched her data pad to her chest, her mind racing. What do we do with the Omega strain? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. General Hawthorne's expression resolute. We can't use it, not like this. But we can't destroy it either. It may be our last resort. Then we hide it, Allen said firmly. deep underground with the highest security protocols, and we pray we never have to use it. As the lunar facility erupted into frantic activity, preparing for the coming onslaught, Alan's comm unit chirped. It was a message from Earth, marked with the highest priority. "Captain," came the urgent voice of his XO, Commander Reyes. "We've got a situation planetside. A group calling themselves Pure Earth has taken control of several major cities. They're threatening to unleash some kind of bioweapon of their own if we allow any alien forces to land." Alan closed his eyes, feeling the weight of impossible decisions pressing down on him. "Understood, Commander. Do what you can to contain the situation. I'm on my way back." As he made his way to the hangar, Alan caught sight of Dr. Thompson working furiously at a console. She looked up as he approached, her eyes filled with a mix of commitment and hope. "Captain," she said, her voice low and urgent, "I think I might have found a way out of this, a third option, but I'll need time and resources." Alan nodded, not fully understanding but trusting in the brilliant scientist who had already achieved the impossible. "Whatever you need, Doctor. Just work fast. We're running out of time." As Alan's shuttle broke free of the moon's gravity, he watched the massive form of the Xenos Maximus grow larger in the view screen. Behind it, a swarm of Gralix vessels moved in perfect, terrifying synchronization. The comm crackled to life. "Captain Allen," came the familiar voice of Admiral Tisari. "We're assembling every ship we can muster, but even with our combined forces—" "I know," Allen replied grimly. "We'll have to buy time. For Earth, for Dr. Thompson, for whatever slim chance we have left." As the Intrepid's engines flared to life, Allen steeled himself for the battle to come. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Dr. Thompson's fingers tightened as she gripped the shuttle controls, her precious cargo of hybrid embryos secured behind her. The view screen flickered with the chaos unfolding in Earth's orbit, a hellscape of clashing fleets and silent, deadly energy beams. "Initiating evasive pattern delta," she muttered, yanking the controls hard to port as a Gralixi cruiser disintegrated nearby. The shuttle bucked and shuddered, alarms blaring as debris peppered its hull. In the command center of the Intrepid, Captain Allen barked orders, his face illuminated by the flashing tactical displays. "Concentrate fire on those Sandcorp dropships. We can't let them reach the lunar facilities." The Intrepid's guns blazed, streams of coherent light lancing out to intercept the incoming threats. On the main view screen, Allen watched in horror as continent-sized swathes of Earth erupted in apocalyptic firestorms. "Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, "incoming transmission from Ambassador Zyrax." The alien diplomat's face appeared, his features contorted with urgency. "Captain Allen, please. We must convince all sides to stand down. The hybrids, they're our last hope for a shared future." Before Allen could respond, a proximity alarm shrieked. The massive form of the Xenos Maximus loomed into view, dwarfing even the largest ships in the human-alien coalition. Suddenly, the impossible happened. The Gralixi Armada opened fire on itself. "What in the name of—" Allen began, but his words were cut short as a message crackled through on all frequencies. "Hear me, inheritors of chaos," Dominatrix Rowe's voice rang out, tinged with an unsettling messianic fervor. "The hybrids shall be our salvation, born of this crucible of destruction." On the shuttle's tiny screen, Dr. Thompson watched in awe as the Xenos Maximus began to reconfigure itself, its brutal war form giving way to something organic, womb-like. "The Genesis chambers," she breathed, understanding dawning. "They're using the battle's energy to accelerate the hybrid's gestation." A blinding flash filled the view screen as Emperor Thraxus's flagship exploded, victim of the cascading viral codes tearing through the Gralixi fleet. In its wake, something new began to take shape, a prismatic efflorescence of newborn entities, transcending the violence of their creation. Dr. Thompson's shuttle rocked as reality itself seemed to fracture around her. Through the cracks, she glimpsed impossible vistas, worlds reborn, civilizations reshaped, the very fabric of the cosmos reconfiguring itself around the hybrid seeds. As the shuttle tumbled through the maelstrom, Dr. Thompson clutched the container holding humanity's resilient spark. Where they would emerge, she couldn't begin to guess. But as the old galaxy crumbled into ash and possibility, she knew that the true journey was only just beginning.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.